and we can start with talking about what got you into breaking down the business of sports.
So, I mean, I went to business school. I've been in product strategy for a long time.
Okay.
And one of the things is that I just constantly read business strategy and kind of just soak up all this stuff, really. I started a newsletter about a year and a half ago. Just circulated it towards friends. And every time I would write about business strategy stuff, you would get like a lot of responses and stuff like that. It would basically be like real world cases. And every time I would cover like Nike or like any sort of like the business of sports type stuff, uh, people would go crazy. Opinions were like super polarized. People were really like either A, passionate, or B, saying, you're not considering this. And I just kind of found out that there was this niche that was like in our audience that was just sort of like under delivering. So late last year, beginning of this year, we decided we're just going to write about the business of sports. And doing that, we've seen like a tremendous amount of growth in our newsletter. I've seen a lot of like my channel is doing really well on Instagram. So that's kind of how I really got into it. I was interested as like basically like a generalist type of like point of view on how things are going. And I just kind of realized the stuff that I always wanted to read about sports. You have like the in-game analysis, you have like the player narratives, but there are like narratives behind the scenes that are going on too that I just don't feel like get covered enough, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you would basically like if you wanted to do that, you would basically have to wait for like you would just have to read like exclusively like Jeff Passan or whatever, or like
Yeah.
whenever like the big sort of like reporting pieces being broken out. So I wanted to create something where somebody at least is thinking about some of this stuff all the time. So that's how I got into it, really.
That's pretty cool. Interesting enough, growing up and like just being a sports fan, I never really cared about it,
Yeah,
like the business side of it, because like you said, it's not highlighted unless you're looking for certain writers or certain people.
that's
But
right.
like being so little life story. So I used to do like Uber Eats deliveries or whatever.
Hmm.
And I'll
Yeah,
listen to podcasts and I'll listen to like Brian Windhorst or Jeff Passan and stuff.
yeah,
And listening to them talk about the business of said sport, basketball, baseball, it helped me understand what I'm watching on the field
that's
or
right.
court,
That's right.
and as you know, recently, like the last year and a half in basketball, second apron, second apron, second apron.
Second April.
Oh, and a lot of people are just starting to like realize that is affecting teams now. But like
Yeah.
I've been listening to these guys for like the last year and a half, 2 years. I've been hearing it for a while. And it helps me when I'm having conversation with my friends when they're like, let's make this, they should make this trade. It's like they can't. Like
Right. Yeah.
they actually can't. So like that's why I say like what you do in the content and the writing that you provide. Hey man, that kind of stuff helps me win a lot of arguments. All right.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm really the group chat whisperer. This is how I got into it, where I would have friends who would approach me because we're all coming up in age. We're all in our 30s now, and
Yeah.
everyone's like starting to get serious into business issues. And a lot of my friends have idiots in their group chats, and literally they would come to me and be like, "Hey, listen, they screenshotted something, and they would screenshots like some sort of like BS analysis that somebody heard somewhere." And I was like, "This is not true." Blah 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 blah. And that's why I started writing the newsletter in the first place, because like
Yeah.
understanding like that thing like behind the curtain is really just going to help you out and like planning for realistic hypotheticals,
Yeah.
also just not being surprised when something happens,
Yeah.
so yeah, 100%. Like
It helps a lot.